And Mr. Moore, I have a question for you, if you don't mind. With just a brief answer, if you were advising Joe Biden on how to make our economy as weak as possible, what would you tell him to change?
Wait, I'm sorry, to make it as strong as possible?
As weak. If you were advising him, make America's economy weak, what would you have him change?
Well, I do pretty much what we've done. I mean, this idea that somehow we're in a recovery right now, I just looked at the numbers, the latest numbers for the GDP forecast for the second quarter. Those are 0.9%. We had negative 1.5% in the first quarter. So if you put those numbers together, for the first half of 2021, we've had negative growth. What recovery are you all talking about? There is no recovery in the economy. We're negative. We're negative for the first half of the year after spending $1.9 trillion.
Yes, Mr. Moore, thank you so much for laying that out. I would love to give a copy of Trumponomics to everyone here on the Budget Committee. I think that would be something that everyone would
I've got
really
copies
benefit.
available.
There you go. We'll get you some signed copies over there. Mr. Mayor Vince Williams, can you please tell me what bird sanctuaries, a beachside 800-room luxury hotel, pickleball courts, ski resorts, and Halloween festivals have in common?
I have no idea. I don't have either of those in my city.
Well, your city is paying for them, Mr. Williams. Mayor Williams, each of these non-COVID health-related projects was paid for by state and local governments with COVID-19 aid. Washington politicians are addicted to spending. We don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. And this addiction, like the American Rescue Plan is causing, is similar to Parmesan cheese and Hunter Biden. Thanks, and I yield back.
If you don't have moral virtue in the people. No, you got me started. Let me finish, okay? Well, that is a root problem, my friend.
Public officials lying.
It's Ms. Fishback's time. I'm just saying, my friend,
okay, well,
we can have this debate. Wait, let me finish. We can have this debate. We can have this debate, and it is an important one. But my point here today is that this bill is not getting us to that. What we're trying to do right here is federalize an issue that the states are already handling. Why is it that infinite bureaucrats in Washington insert themselves in this issue? If best practices studies exist, Ms. Cicilline said a few moments ago, are local law enforcement and state agencies not competent enough to gather those up? Do they need Washington bureaucrats to direct them to all this, to gather it for them and package it at the expense of U.S. taxpayers and send it to them? They don't need that. They don't need that. Why are we trying to federalize everything? The government is too big, it's doing too many things, and what it doesn't do well. We need to restore the power to the people. We need to get back to the moral foundations of the country, the basics, the principles that are going to hold this republic together. If we're going to keep the republic, we have to remember the foundations, the things that made America great in the first place. That's what we're losing. That is the root cause, and we're twisting at windmills up here with all these little, policy and principle and political skirmishes and not addressing the real issues. That's what we're talking about, Jamie. We ought to pray for the victims and pray for our country and rely upon God who gave us all this through his blessing. I yield back.
They're doing this production, this rehash, this replay of a moment-by-moment dissection of a terrible event that took place here a year and a half ago. They thought the American people would be riveted by their production, but the ratings have proven what everybody already knew. The American people have lived through all this, and they have moved on. In fact, we thought it was interesting, according to one report, CBS's decision to bump a Young Sheldon rerun from its primetime slot in favor of Thursday's January 6 hearing resulted in fewer viewers than the identical time slot the prior week. So reruns of Young Sheldon played better than the January.
You all have invested thousands of hours, apparently millions upon millions of taxpayer dollars, interviewed hundreds of witnesses, compiled 100,000 pages of documents. You hired lawyers, consultants, and big network TV producers, and all for what? I mean, what everybody's watching is a rehash and a replay of a moment-by-moment dissection of a terrible event that took place a year and a half ago. I guess you all expected that, no, hold on, well, let me finish. I guess you thought that the American people would be riveted by the production, but the American people have lived through this, they moved on. You know what they care about right now, my friend? They care about the cost of their groceries, the cost of their gasoline. They care about soaring prices, care about uninhibited illegal immigration that is destroying the very fabric of the nation.
Since the passage of this blue state bailout, the Biden White House has claimed that, quote, the economy is in a better place than it has been historically. Well, I'm curious, is it the highest inflation of my lifetime, the highest gas prices in American history, or a shrinking GDP that would cause Jen Psaki's replacement to make such an outrageous claim. Under President Trump, which I'd like to pause and just say happy birthday to my all-time favorite president, but gas prices were less than half of what they are today. GDP had positive growth, and moms and dad had formula to feed their babies. I miss, and the American people miss, the Trump economy. Not only was the so-called American Rescue Plan entirely unnecessary, but it was riddled with swampy deals for Biden's political allies in blue states and did not include common sense protections to mitigate fraud. Less than 9% of this $2 trillion sham went to anything. Now, the average American family is paying the price for these failed policies. And that price is $5,200 per year.
This is gas prices since January of 2017. And again, we look at stay about the same until January of 2021. I wonder what happened then. And then look at this. And in the conversation about gas prices that from the administration lately has been, well, it's all Putin's fault. Well, here's the rising gas prices since President Biden's inauguration right there. And right there is the war that began in Russia. So this little increase right here is the part that's actually there. This is on consumer price inflation. This is on gas prices, same thing. To be able to see this flat line on gas prices, that spike,